to Tarjin Zobe Chabjida, Ninja Ranzu Dembe Nadagal, Dieter Landur Dembe Levela, Gosum Givegone Dagitzel, Sevegi, Chujiki, Gundu Todigibe, Dare, Naje, Rijum Turim Lobregi, Chitin Kandinalu, the Zomnamigi, the Zonkada Lamsugi, look to Yonlu, the Nache, Khyentse Tamshiki Larim Dinalu, the Chumbaleso Seshunela, the Nache Khyentse Tamshiki Larim Simigi, the Larim the Cotton Tabgobigi, Migu Dira, the Nachera Karagichilo, the Misenalu, the Nyamnyong, Midenalu, the Wiki Kablo, the Mediki Tonsil, the Simkalu Charnang Diso, Yumidi, the Diso Shesegi Sagoji Mebdojibawachin, the Nacheregi, the Kobigi Dilu, Rinime, Seshunela, the Anibo Letindigibe, the Nache Khyentse Tamshi, Sevegi, the Larim Sogobigi, Miguel Zodira, the Mikpatiluki Digibe Suso in Seshunela. The Daring Achigi, Khyentse Tamshigi, Larim Dinalu, Sumjibawachin, the Rimting Chuguba in Seshunela, the Dinalu, Seshiva, the Koni Seshunela dia, to the Himalaya, Longosumba Cardinale, the Ngoming Sangi Penso da, Gig the Zomrik, Longo Nivanale, the Rinchwandi Koni in Seshunela. Though we are all given the same title as human, as an individual we are different. The way we talk, the way we eat, and the way we dress. Every daily activities we do are all different. The way we think and the way we view things varies from each other. Hence, we have Sangay Phuntsho from BHS final year to highlight on the topic, you and I see different, and how we should respect each other's view of seeing things differently. So with this, I would like to welcome Mr. Sangay Phuntsho on the stage.
Hello everyone, I'm neither Barack Obama nor the biggest sensational entrepreneur, Ratan Tata, known by the world without even giving their intro details. I'm a low-key known to a small circle of people. Therefore, I deemed it necessary to provide some basic information about myself. I'm aware that my photo with my name have been posted on social media platforms by the Khyentse organizers. Still then, my social instinct reminds me that Buddhists are generally negligent about things happening around them until it's too late to realize. Let me see, how many of you have seen it? I guess only a few number of people have seen it. I am Sangay Phuntsho, pursuing BA in Buddhist and Himalayan Studies. For those who haven't seen me until now, I'm about to graduate from this college. I'll be graduating this summer. To proceed, for the assigned minute, I'm not going to talk about my life struggles, notably my life story, because it isn't any intriguing to inspire you all. It is a trivial matter which should remain suppressed under a big mess till I become famous or celeb something. For a persons like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Johnny Depp, and for now we have famous footballer Hakimi. If they narrate their life story, their failure will motivate you. Their success will inspire you. But if I narrate my story, you are going to prioritize what useless over self-motivation. Therefore, after grabbing this priceless and an immeasurable opportunity, I'm going to talk about I and you all see different. I and you all see different. Still then, even though it doesn't include my life struggles, I'm not going to neglect my life experiences. It is said that if you listen to others, you know what you don't know. And on the flip side, if you stick to what you know and resist and listening from others, you only know what you know only. Therefore, let me unveil what I know to you through this talk based on my experiences. Does anyone of you from the audience question our education system? Especially I do. After studying and staying in the schools for so long, I'm flooded with doubts rather than the confirmations. School life isn't any interesting part of my life. For instance, it was in a recent year that I appeared in exam and there was a question. Wife of dash was dash. It was not really an exact question, but logically it sounds like that. Looking at it, you might think that wife will be Jema, Pema, Karma or Wangmo. Nonetheless, the catch out here is earlier in the class I was fed with more than 12 kings. Again, there is a high chances that you might think it's only 12. Why can't I shift myself to rote learning and make it possible? If you are going to think like that, it's going to make me laugh. Because those kings that I studied have more than two or three wives. On top of it, some of the names are even hard to pronounce. The real question out here is, in what way does this sort of question check the capacity of students' learning? This sort of question is still prevalent and frequently provided to students all across our nation. I'm here to blame no one because that's the education system, unchangeable. One interesting backlashes in our education system is when the graduates like us are ultimately destined to appear a PE exam to recruit ourselves in civil service. In that PE case, it is a battle between those who knows the answer genuinely and those who shades that circle coincidentally. One time, from one of our Bhutan's school, that particular administration allowed their school cook to appear that MCQ-based question. The fact is that the cook didn't even attend any formal education and knew nothing about single ABCD, but he scored 60 out of 100. Where do you see the education's baseline? It's shrinking. It's horrendous. It same applies to us. Some of us will fail, some of us will pass, but those who pass will be passed on two terms, one with genuineness and one with the mere luck. And when I talk about this backlashes in our multiple choice question, you might think that we have competitive-based question to check our understanding. I can assure you that this competitive-based question also have a limit, and it do have treacherous aftermath. I'm using the word treacherous here because what we write is determined by others' mind. Our mind and the teacher's mind is totally different. For instance, in my community, if I witness a three-eyed cow, will it impress the teacher who saw only two-eyed cow? And moreover, to justify that our minds are totally different, one time from our class, we submitted 2 same assignments to that one particular teacher. As per our understanding, the 2 same assignments should receive the equal marks, but it didn't happen. If the differences had occurred with little mark, then we can at least take into consideration, but the differences of the mark occurred with vast number. It was of 7 marks differences. So it's in your hand to ask yourself, after sitting on the chair, and reflect upon yourself, that is mark really the trustworthy thing, or are we going to acknowledge the differences and the disparities brought to us by our marks? At some point in our life, we have all learned science and the mathematics besides literature and history. To those who are going to graduate from technical colleges, those science and the mathematics are more than necessary. But what purpose does it hold for you all? Don't you wonder? Are you able to sleep peacefully with that science knowledge without having any fields to apply? In science, we have learned about digestive system, chemical formula of alcohol, and even body anatomy at large. Where do you use this knowledge? I know that knowing is not the problem, but in this complex world, if you know little and have no implications in your life, that's hazardous. You don't go around to doctor and see that, "Doctor, my small intestine is tangled. Please, can you untangle it for me?" Or else, you're not going to ask the doctor, "Doctor, my heart's valve is not working. Can you examine it?" No, you never tell like that. You just need to go to doctor and tell that, "My part of abdomen is hurting. Please, can you check it?" And the job is done. Your knowledge of science is nowhere. Unknowingly, I made a greatest mistake taking mathematics in 11th and 12th grade. My maths career started with a humor. When we are admitting for the class 11 in our high school, we need to choose our courses based on our marks. At first, I chose 𝐓𝐡𝐞 because I was a little bit good in Dzongkha, but later found out that there are huge number of people opting for 𝐓𝐶. So I changed my idea of taking a 𝐓𝐶 and joined the mathematics line. Even in the mathematics line also, the students' number had exceeded the requirements. So the teacher was basically asking everyone about their 10th grade mathematics mark. We all are new to the school and all are counting the marks. Some they counted 80s, some they counted 90s, some they counted 60s. And it reached to me. I said 48 because that's my 10th mathematics mark. It was the start of the joke. The real joke was seen during the 12th grade's board exam. My friends, those who counted their numbers as 80s, 90s, and 70s during the enrollment in the mathematics course are the ones who scored 21s, 22s, 23s, 30s in the 12th final exam. While the one who told 48 scored 87. See, if I would have scored 87, I would be in Gedu by now, taking the accounting subject. I could only score 58, still not bad. One interesting thing that happened in my maths career was my guts proved me worthy. In my high school, we used to do tests frequently, and it was during my maths test time. I got the paper, and I could only attempt 2 or 3 questions that accounts to 7 marks. And rest of the test period, I just slept in the test room. That time, the invigilator was furious and he reported me to the head of the exam cell. Later on, I was interrogated by the head of the exam cell. I told him I didn't write anything because I knew nothing beyond that 2 or 3 questions that I attempted. And I assured him that some of my classmates will also get this much only, and if you don't believe me, you just wait for our test result. And the sir was surprised. He used to be my Dzongkha teacher. And later on, he asked me to tell about my family. As soon as he was asking about the family, I knew that in our Buddhist context, if you say that your family is poor and you are doing wrong things, they are going to press hard on you. So to save myself, I said that I am the only son of my parents and I'm pampered by them, so they won't tell anything about me getting the low marks. Again, I made him odd. Then he let me go by saying that, he said that, let me see the result. The result was as I expected. My friends almost all got 7s, 8s, and those who stayed in the exam hall writing the test for 1 hour could only get 2 or 3. That's why my guts proved me worthy. I'm generally saying this because in life, we need to determine what we should achieve, and it shouldn't be influenced by other people. You should not let other people cost you. And learn to prioritize things. I know that we still have some of our friends who are still in a phase of not prioritizing anything and just living a life like a river, just engulfing anything that comes along his way without looking at significance or the actual drawbacks. My advice for you will be somehow or somewhat late, but it's too early for your children. If you let it germinate and mature it, you will see a perfect son or daughter. One thing that I hated as a student was I never loved the idea of writing notes. And more than that, I despised that teacher who marks my notebook. It's like trained in every school to mark the notebook and provide the CA. Do you see any sense to it? It doesn't make any sense to me. One time, my teacher collected our notebook and took for correction. Afterwards, he brought it back with the marks. I was mocked and scolded for writing less compared to other. But mocking and scolding I can bear because it doesn't hurt any of my sentiments, since note that I maintained was based on my creativity. But what really distorted me was when my friends could get 4 out of 5, I was given 1. That really hurted me. If you really check the notebook of those who scored 4 marks, you will see no differences between the teacher's PPT and that particular student's notebook. If the teacher is going to award us a notebook based on his expectation, instead of calling our notebook as notebook, we should call it as expectation of our teachers. Then only we will get a full mark. Sometimes I even feel like telling to teacher, it have some conditions. Some teachers are really bad and they try to manipulate our understanding also. They mock at us, they scold us. So I feel like telling them that you take my notebook, write it yourself and mark it. That's where I will be justified. But it won't sound great. You would see that there is a rubrics for everything, to check everything, but that rubrics remains just a rubric. You might have noticed it. Every one of us has different taste. Every one of us is not good in everything. Likewise, teachers are also of different varieties. Some are good at spotting spelling errors. Some are good at spotting citation mistakes. Some are good at grammatical errors. But that one particular teacher is not good at all that thing. Therefore, we will definitely see the differences in our marks. If you don't believe me, you write one paragraph and submit it to 10 different teachers and see their feedbacks with your work. You will remember me after that feedback. And before I leave this stage, I want to let you know that do not profit yourself from the marks that you acquire from this education, because that's at certain point, but in life we should be responsible and moral. That mark that you achieved is not your mark. If you ask yourself a question, it's teacher's mark. Teacher has awarded you. If you are to achieve that mark, from your perspective, you would have achieved a full mark. However, if you be responsible, if you nourish your moral, and be really cooperative in the communities, that thing comes from yourself. That thing should gradually develop in your mind. Therefore, be responsible and try to nourish your moral to fit in every society. Now, I rest my talk by saying that this is how I see, and how you see should be asked to yourself. Thank you. May God bless you and may God bless CLCS.